Number 1 Iron Age Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. What's going on, everybody? Oh my good Lord. Hello, everyone. It has been another fantastic week. Yes, we did survive the cigar stream. Oh man, it's been a good week, man. It has been a great week for people getting out there. We had a fantastic comic shop Wednesday. The Smoker is coming along, although I have to fix something that got damaged today. So that's going to be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. This is Iron Age Nights number 40. That's right. We are 12 Iron Age Nights away from the 1 year anniversary of Iron Age Nights. That's going to be fun. I just thought about that before the show, and I felt it was necessary to mention it to you all. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's say hello to the chat, because you guys are, in fact, the reason that we're here and the reason that this show has been going on for as long as it has. So over on Rumble, we have Eric Wag. Apparently, he's going to double dip. Oh, you double dipping. That's okay. Lieutenant Bob. What's going on? Chat Sue, how are you doing? It's fantastic to see you over there. And then over on YouTube, we have Raven Nevermore. What's going on? Raving Dad Gaming, hello, how are you? Horizon Talker, what's going on? Derek Baird, hello. AC Pritchard, how are you? Timo Burnham, what's going on, buddy? Ted Cage, how's it going? Oxen W. Oh God. You guys are all you early people. You just started talking and now I have to. Evely Music, what's up? Guilty Gearhead. Wait, did I say hello to Guilty Gearhead yet? No, I didn't. Okay, it's fine. James Craig, how are you doing, man? Kristen Colebrook, what's going on? Gino, the Shadow of King Bob. The Shadow of King Bob is here. He's not King Bob anymore. I don't get to say King Bob anymore, but you know, it's fine. Anthony Rondinelli, how are you doing? Brian McCoppin, what up? Eric Grant, how are you doing? A.S. Bruner, Trent Roberts, what's going on? Aloy, hello. Welcome. Everybody down in the chat, it is so fantastic to see everybody piling in early, especially on a Friday night when everybody is out there moving and shaking and doing things, and you guys are here with us, and that lets me know that you guys are having a good time. And I will say this, Betty Adams Over Analysis, hello, how are you? And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to say hello. Hello to a man who could probably strangle those that work with paper. Because you see, those that work with paper, they're very flimsy like the paper that they work with. They have no spines. They don't know what they're doing. But this man beats upon the anvil and just wants his freaking magazine to come out. Richard,
I have them. They are here.
They are here. Oh my God!
There's many of them. So
Yes.
there's
yes.
I got a half ton of magazines. So
That is
Nice.
awesome.
There's I'm not quite totally done with the pain yet with this guy, but the second issue is going to be buttery smooth in
There you
terms
go.
of the process, and I won't have to cram fulfillment into a crisis mode like I did this time. But I got about for people who are supporters of Anvil, I got through over 350 with the help of my wife and family, and most of those
Nice.
have almost all of those went out earlier in the morning, so that they hopefully will be there early next week. That's if the post office does their job, which is always,
So anyway, so you guys are going to have to lodge a complaint at the post office for losing your anvils because half of
Yeah,
us ain't
yeah.
getting them.
but the
You'll get your 2023 anvils in 2024.
yeah, exactly right. But they are out there, and I'm going to be getting through the rest of them this weekend. Although I tell you what, I have just about had it with doing 12-inch posters. It's because all the packing tubes, it's like everything's either like 60, it's like a lot longer or a lot shorter, and the initial solution that I had was good, but it couldn't fit another magazine in there.
No.
And so I was like, well, I got to fix this, and I got some 12-inch tubes, but they're like an eighth of an inch too short. I'm like, oh no. Help something. So I'll fix them.
Duct tape, sir. Duct tape.
Might come to that.
It might come to that. Brian McCoppin, been a member for 7 months, gets in one of those member chats. He says, 1 week until the thing with music by Everly Music. Oh, good, sir. You spelled Everly Music wrong, by the way. It's fine. It's fine. I don't judge. I spell things wrong all the time. I use
He's
talk
an
to
author,
text.
that's why he has an editor,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a story living inside the deep, dark, horrible, horrible sides of your brain that we should never, ever hear about, that are often on my Gilded, by the way, you guys can go there to hang out and find out what other people's deep, dark horribleness is. But if you guys have that thing inside your brain and you would like it to be on the page, for the love of God, please don't ever let me see it. But if you are so tempted and you would like that thing to be on the page, you should reach out to this next man, my other fantastic co-host, Mr. Daniel P. Riley, who will help you get your story on the page. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing well. It's been a busy week. The fulfillment for my book signing is proceeding along nicely. I did have a minor snafu with some packaging too, so I know what Richard's dealing with.
There you
And
It's so much
everything will be going out the door on Monday.
Nice. That's
Awesome.
awesome. That's fantastic. Oh God, the amount of work that you guys are putting in lately, I'm just like, wow. Just it and not just you guys, but literally everybody that I have just kind of ended up in the circle with. It's insane. It's insane to see the level of work that everyone is going through, the level of connections that people are making, and just and really making this, like, I don't know if this is still a tiny thing yet, but it feels a lot bigger than something that's just small. It feels it feels massive because of all the work you guys are putting in. So that is absolutely fantastic.
And most of the folks in the chat, since most of them are creators of some type.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the truth. So without any further ado, we're going to talk to a guy who is doing something quite different. He's not doing the author thing. He's not doing the artist thing. He's not doing the tabletop RPG thing. He is doing something that most of you, for lack of a better term, need a lot of help with. Is that too on the nose, ladies and gentlemen? It is. It is. I am very, very excited to announce that we have Nikki P from Iron Age Marketing over here. And Nikki, man, what is going on? How has your last week been, and how are you doing?
My last week has been pretty much the same as most weeks go. I'm doing fantastic though. So aside
Awesome.
from some hail getting dumped on my garden last night.
Oh, no.
it's-
Ooh.
Yeah, but my garden, it's a sturdy one. So
There you go.
it
Atta
took
boy.
it like a champ. I think I had like 1 or 2 tomato plants is all it got
Got
busted
it.
up.
That's not bad.
So
Yeah, we've been lacking in the rain here lately for our garden. So, but
Ooh,
for the
not
most part,
here.
dude, we just got our first Anaheim peppers the other day. So my wife's gonna start making some good Mexican green chili. Tomatoes are coming in. Oh, my.
all that matters for me
I
is
can't
that
wait.
get a million jars of dilly beans. That's all I care about.
There you go.
And we've been pulling pounds of Lahilda beans out of there, so we're good.
There you go, man. So, usually I start this off with a question that I'm going to slightly have to change. Because you, like me, decide that, well, everybody else is doing this thing. Yeah, I'm not going to do that thing. I'm going to do my own thing. And so you're screwing with my first question here, Nikki. But because usually my first question is, okay, you're obviously an author or an artist or whatever. What got you into this thing, and how were you inspired to be in this thing that you're in and create the things that you're creating? So it's somewhat the same question, but basically the same thing for marketing. How did you turn into Iron Age Marketing? What got you there? Let's start with like little Nikki. Shit.
Get in the flask.
That was how did you go from a kid to what inspired you to do what you did? What's your journey? How did you get here today?
So I'm a musician by trade, or always have been. And
Yeah.
and so when the marketing kind of stuff happens later in life, I've always been a horror aficionado. Like that's my genre. Like I like fantasy.
Oh,
You know.
horror. Okay. I was like, oh, we're going.
Yeah, we're not trying to get you kicked off yet.
We're
But,
going there. Okay.
Soon.
Well, so I think I read The Dark Half by Stephen King in like 4th grade because I got tired of Fear Street and Goosebumps, and my parents are big King fans. So I started getting into the heavy horror pretty early and just read everything I could.
Wow.
And then through high school and college, I kind of got out of reading, and school makes you hate learning. I hate you just, and nothing I don't have to do. Screw this place. Well, towards the end of college, I started like really feeling like, hey, maybe I'm gonna be a writer and I want to get back into this thing. And I started reading, and aside from some very, very graphic, very, very dark short stories that sit in my Evernote, I never managed to get that let's write every day impulse. But over the years, I've never stopped doing the music, and I guess that's where the writing portion always comes out for me. Like I'll write weird science fiction stories in the way you're making songs, I guess. But one of the things you learn in music is that you do it long enough. There's a lot of people out there doing the thing that you want to be doing, and you go up, you go through the MySpace years, you go through
Oh my God.
Facebook years, and you're just a small little fry amongst a sea of other bands. And
I
no one pays
love how
attention
you
to
attack all of us by saying MySpace. Thank you for that.
Well, I was right there with Ellen.
I know.
I'm
I
just
saw-
aging myself. You didn't have to say
I-
it. You didn't have to laugh.
Dude,
Tom and I were buddies.
oh, dude, I saw a post one time, and this was years ago, and it was from some teenage kid, and they're like, what if like Facebook would let you like customize your background and put like your own like personal like music, so when like people would show up to your Facebook, they'd get like your personality and stuff. And somebody was like, they just figured out what MySpace was, and I was like, that hurts, because it was like after a decade of MySpace not being a thing anymore, and I was like, oh, these kids.
Well, the worst part is technically MySpace is still a thing, and you can go log into your old page.
Absolutely. Nope.
At least as far as a year ago. I know I've tested this. And the reason I say this is because I get really upset because when I log into my account, it would show all of the old songs that I recorded during that era that I now no longer have copies of because of it
Ooh.
crashed computers. But it won't let me play the darn things.
Oh,
And I
no.
really like, and there's songs that like I really, really liked. I wish I could like make a new version of, but I need like the source to do it. And they would just sit there haunting me. So upset. So if it's gone, thank God, because I don't have to bother me anymore knowing it's there.
I don't even want to know the viruses that would infect my computer if I logged back into my old MySpace.
Well, continuing, I guess, the story.
Sorry,
So,
I
no,
had
you're good. I mean, I get it. So, doing the band thing, and I got really, really tired of, I guess, nobody knowing who my band was. And then concurrent with this, I started podcasting. So I started like really getting into how do you make people look at what you're doing? How do you get people on the internet to pay attention? And how do you deal with having come from the libertarian movement? How do you get all of the deplatforming and get around all of that? Like all of my friends at Punk Rock Libertarians that, lost 1 million subs over one day because, something you said is annoying. And so it just started me researching and testing and researching and testing. And at some point, this all kind of converged with, we'll say, I started getting into Nerdrotic, like really, really re-inspiring my old nerd passion. And then all of a sudden, there's like, wow, there's a lot of people doing this like independently and not. I mean, let's be honest, Stephen King hasn't written a good book in like a decade. So there's got to be other people that are writing cool stuff. And start going down that rabbit hole, and it's like, well, what can I do? What can I offer to these people? Like, I'm not a writer, but like, I want to support what's going on here. And so I just, start talking to people, and it became very clear, like, why so many of the independent people stay small and independent, because a lot of the things that became second nature to me over the course of those 5 years of study and marketing was that these people don't know anything about marketing. And it's like, then I'll say this, I'm not going to be the world's biggest name in marketing because I don't have any desire to be that. What I can be is someone who can help out with people that have no knowledge of it whatsoever. Like there's a lot of really simple things that if you put the effort into do, like you will get outsized gains on, because it's a heck of a lot better than doing nothing. And so, kind of pulls all that together. I think at some point someone coined the term Iron Age, and I'm just like, whatever that is, I'm going to be a part of it, and this is how I'm going to do that. And so I bought
the marketing
domain
version of me.
bought the Iron Age marketing domain and said, all right, let's set up the web page and see what we can make happen.
Well,
Awesome.
I like what you said there, and you're like, look, I'm not going to be the biggest name in marketing. You're like, but I'm going to help people who don't know anything about marketing, and when I'm done with them, they're going to know something about it, right? Because everybody has to have the place to start.
Yes.
And I like that. I like that you kind of took the approach. It's like no, but like people have to know something about this. They can't, just.
Well, even if it's just discerning, if someone's offering to help you, being able to discern whether or not that help is useful or not is a big thing. Like, say you're looking at a deal, like someone decides, hey, I want to publish you, and this is what we're going to offer you, and you're going to say, oh wow, that sounds like a whole ton of help, and then realizing if you talk to me about it, well, that guy's not doing anything for you that you couldn't do with $10 a month and yourself, maybe 2 hours, and they're not giving you enough money for what they're saying they're going to do, or vice whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a frustration for me. Like, and it's funny. So like I do the podcast as part of like my help to educate people, and in the course, I think I've had 22 episodes so far, or 21, something like that. There's been more recorded than have been put out. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I did an epic with RH Snow that was like after 2 hours of conversation. I'm like trying to she's just too charming and
She'll wear you out. We know, we've been there. Oh, I love her to death. She is, RH Snow is unbelievably fantastic.
At some point,
Nobody can stop the queen.
I'm going to feel like editing it. That's the problem. It sits there because I don't want to edit 2 hours of audio.
See, that's why I do this, because
feel
I don't
that.
have to edit. I leave it as it lies.
Well, and here lies. That's the musician part of me. I can't. Like, I'll put the video version out, whatever. but I can't let the audio version do that. Like I have to make sure everybody sounds like a genius in that episode. Not a single or like all the conversation flows. If I have to restructure it, I will.
In the audio format, I get it. And that's why I have not, I'm a musician as well. So I know what you're talking about. And I get it. Yeah. And that's why I never have put this up as like an audio only podcast, because there's a lot of visual thing. I talk with my hands a lot. It's a joke in the chat. I am not Italian, but I act like I am. Yeah, that's why I haven't done the audio only stuff, is because to go through and edit things and make everybody just on point constantly over a multiple hour podcast, as somebody who has edited multiple hours of video footage, not just for this channel, but for other channels that I've had in the past, that's a lot of time. Like, that is a lot of time. So I get it.
I do a half an hour podcast, and generally I think I spend about 10 to 12 hours between the editing and setting up content per episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why it's on half an hour once a week, because that's all I can afford in it.
That sounds normal. Dude, I did an airsoft channel for years, because I love airsoft. I love playing it. It's fun. It's good exercise. Great community usually. And for a 20-minute episode, not only would I have to pack all my stuff out, go out to the field, record, and get, video footage. I usually try to grab like 3 games a day. So I'd play for 4 or 5 hours, and then I would go home, then I'd offload the footage. Then for a 20-minute episode of, maybe we did a long game, maybe we did like a 40-minute game. Dude, that was a minimum of 10 hours of editing for 20 minutes of that week's gameplay. And then normal, 10-minute long gameplay from our 20-minute worked, because I had 3 cameras going and all that. Like it was 6 to 7 hours worth of editing for a 10-minute video. There is a lot that goes into that. So I sympathize with what you're talking about when you're just like, yeah, 30-minute episode takes me 12 hours, especially because you're doing audio. See, I could get away with it because I had video that I could mask some things. You got nothing. You've got to make sure that audio is perfect. And anybody who's ever been in an audio booth or seen what audio engineers do, I don't envy you, good sir.
My wife laughs at me because I'll just sit there and I won't even listen to it. I'll just go by watch the waveforms and okay, it's doing this, not supposed to do that. Let's.
Yep. Been there. Oh God. Yep. Oh, I hate audio only.
Well, and I actually enjoy doing it. For me, it's very zen.
Okay.
It's the video stuff that gets annoying for me, and it's funny you say like you can hide stuff in the video. For me, it's like, yeah, I can't get rid of all those coughs and ums and ahs I want to get rid of in there, because it's got to be the camera on the guy talking who just will not stop making that noise. Yep. And I'm not making 300 cuts.
Oh God. I've had to do that before. I've had to do never mind, I won't get into that. I've had to do audio envelopes just every fraction of a second for minutes long at a time, and drop it down to like a negative 35 dB in order just to get in video form. Yeah. And then I just got really, really tired of that. So I was like, screw this. So I just start throwing like hyper compression on those sections. So I was like, nope, done with it. The hyper compression, lower the gain, call it good. But I could cheat in that. You can't cheat in an audio only podcast. It's great. Oh God. Okay, so we've definitely deviated. Richard, I felt like you had a question there for a minute.
Yeah, I had a couple. Let's see here. I had a couple questions. I'm gonna wind back quite a ways.
Well, don't do that.
We're
already here. Why would you go back? We're already here. Well, one foot in front of the other.
I was curious about this.
Oh, okay.
So with
he's a Christopher Nolan fan. That's all it is, guys.
Right. Very nice. Very nice. I was wondering. So with the podcasts, you've been mainly interviewing. Well, you've been interviewing a wide variety of people. How many are you sitting on at this point in time? Because you said it was quite.
Basically, what happens is I'll put out a call every couple months or so, and then record them a bunch of them, and then just edit one a week and release them. So I have, aside from the epic 2-hour RH Snow one, I think I've recorded 3 or 4 so far this week, and I got another 3 or 4 lined up next week. And then I won't probably ask anybody for another couple months. I'll run through the episodes, and when I get close to the end, I'll go for another round. And it's like when I first started out, a lot of it was me starting out with like libertarian writers that I knew, and just it was more about, hey, I know you wrote a book, why don't you come on here and talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has definitely been more Iron Age specific creators as things have gone on, and I've kind of ingratiated myself to the community a little bit more over time.
Yeah. So with your transition from kind of being more libertarian focused to more Iron Age focused, like how do you describe that? Is it less political? Is it more something else? Like what's the
in truth,
what's your take on it?
The thing that I joke is I don't think I've had a single person that wouldn't have described themselves as a libertarian behind the scenes. Like,
oh yeah,
well the camera's off, like, and most of it's like, well, I got really tired of political action and nothing happening, and I just said, hey, let's go and change the culture, because at least it's something I can do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's been a lot of that. So there's some
relate.
difference, but like ultimately I'm still hanging out with people that tend to have the same kind of values as I do. And it was interesting. You mentioned something when you're doing your lead up. I don't remember quite what it was, but it definitely seemed in line. Like why is this community the community that's working so hard, or the people that everyone around you? Well, I won't say that it has anything to do with most of the people are fairly conservative people that don't want to buy the I can't do it BS that they're sold every day, and they're saying to school, I'm going to go out there, and if I fail on my own merits, as opposed to someone else telling me I can't do anything. So you're just setting up a system that's going to naturally have more of those people in it.
I've said on this channel many times, surround yourself with people that make you feel like you're the laziest person in the room.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, I would rather sit in a room with people that are looking at other people's works going, how the hell do I get to that level? How do I make me to that level? And they try to go for it. I do it all the time. I see my Gilded all the time. I see the artwork all the time. Sometimes I realize there are areas of my life where I'm doing things. Somebody had said something, hey, Royce, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, well, I've got this I got to do. I got this I got to do. I got this I got to do. I got live streams I got to do. I got videos I got to. And I just kind of rattled it off. And then he was just like, holy crap, you're a machine. And I'm just like, no, you're the machine. You're the guy that's usually doing the things that I'm looking up to.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I tell people is like, surround yourself with people that make you feel like you're the lazy one. Like you need to work harder to keep up with them, to be in their company.
Oh, I've definitely been in masterminds where I'm the guy, like, why do you guys let me show up here? Like, I'm a shithead. I'm nothing. You guys are multimillionaires and you're letting me hang out. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is, like, so while I started doing the podcast, I started having these conversations specifically centered around marketing with the creatives I talked to, and it was kind of like being on the other side of that for a change. In whatever modest way I've done what I've done, and I am who I am. A lot of these creatives, because they've spent so much time perfecting their craft and trying to get better at the writing part of it, and I've had conversations like, well, I try not to ever do this on the show. I think the exception being like Donald T. DeLay, when I had him on, it was a big lecture show for me because he actually came out on Twitter and said, I don't understand marketing at all. And I'm like, I'll talk to marketing with you. But usually I will, behind the scenes after we've had our episode, so like, I noticed that you gave a very long URL to a Kickstarter campaign at the end of the episode. Why did you do that? Why don't you own, such and such yourname.com?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can redirect it to the Kickstarter if you don't want to have a website. If you want to send it to your Facebook, to your Twitter, whatever you want to send it to, you can. But something as simple as like your own name, as opposed to a big long link that no one is ever going to remember that you said. When you finish a podcast, you have 5 different links you want to give out. Don't give out the 5 different links. Like, give out 1, maybe 2. Make it as easy as possible. Someone posted about this on Twitter the other day, and it was like, you don't make it harder for people to give you money. And
Yeah, very true.
I learned this in the music industry, because no matter if you set up a tip jar or not, people are going to come up and ask you. If you don't do it, they're going to ask you where to put the money. And you don't want to have that conversation in the middle of a song. So the best thing you can do is leave a runway, put lights, a big sign, and arrows pointing, and somebody will still probably ask you where to put the money. But you limit the amount of it by taking away the hurdles for people to do it. I had a podcaster friend of mine who was complaining that she couldn't monetize her podcast back in the day. And the thing I asked, she's like, well, I've got my, Patreon, and I get some money there, but not a ton. I'm like, how often do you mention it? When do you mention it? How easy is it to get? Well, I don't mention it. I feel bad asking people for money. Okay, well then no one's ever going to give you money. Like, you have to make it as easy as possible to do that. And every hurdle you set up in that way, and to me, like what this amounts to is, if you've ever heard of anybody talk about a funnel. The entire funnel is a path to people giving you money. Like, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but the idea of, you're going to start in this box, and by the end of the path, you've walked the whole thing. Here's where you hand me money. That's it.
That's one of the reasons that I hate having all of the different social medias, because people are like, you need to be everywhere, and I'm like, I'm not. I don't want to be everywhere. I have stuff that I said, like I have a Facebook for A Drink with Crazy. I'm almost never on it. I hardly ever post. I don't care. I've got a Minds for A Drink with Crazy. I don't care. I basically have YouTube. I have my Gilded, and then there's Twitter. And I'm like, those are the 3 areas I'm going to focus on. And the reason I'm not going to focus on the others is because I do not physically possess the time in my day to provide a quality reach in all of those other places. And I tell people constantly, if you want the most quality that I can provide you with what I'm building here on this channel, you go to my Gilded. You can go there for free. You can talk with all of the people down in the chat. You can talk with artists and creators. By the way, I have one of the people who works at the Rippaverse. One of the guys who works with Eric July is in my Gilded right now. Like, he was talking earlier today and is actively engaged. So if you would like to, go to that community for free, you can go and talk with all of those people. If you would like to jump on my Wednesday live stream, all you have to do, you're already in Gilded. You can pay $2 or $5 or $10 a month. And that's just a way for you to support this channel if you believe in it. And then as a thank you for that, I put out a post every week and I ask people to come on and we do a supporter live stream and we shout out other creators, because that's in the spirit of this channel. Because I got tired of trying to figure out how to post in all of these tens of thousands of different places and different ways to, you support in this way over here on this channel, and you support in that way over there on that one, and then you supported this other way over here. And it's like, no, one way to support. Go to my Gilded, do that. Bam, done. I just got tired of it. What do you say about that?
Well, you're focusing on something that's important, and this is, God, if only Marvel or DC had learned this lesson. Is number one, you focus on who your people are, and to do that, you have to go where your people are. There's this idea that making movies, like, you're trying to, all these companies have been trying to get an audience. They didn't want the audience they had. They wanted a different audience. In marketing, that's retarded. Sorry. So
no. I want to interrupt you, because this right here, this is the guy right here, Evely Music. He always does this. Gilded is great. And pay rice if you can swing it. Support what you love. He shouts out my Gilded and supporting me more than I do. And I feel like that is about 1,000 times the magnitude of me saying support it. When some of these guys down in chat who are here every single week, who are like, join us, become us, like that, like these guys in the chat. Not only are they here, not only have I talked with them, not only am I'm still small enough, I'm forming friendships with a lot of them, but those guys market me better than I could.
Well, we can get to that big lesson here in a minute.
Oh, John. Yeah.
But yeah, the idea, like all these corporations are making this content, trying to talk to people that aren't their people. Like the bottom line is we know who buys comic books, and if you don't market to those people or don't make content for those people, then why are you doing this in the first place? Because you're never guaranteed to pull a new audience in. One of the things I was talking with somebody the other day about is, well, do you think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to buy books, because movies are sucking really bad? I'm like, there probably will be some people, but you don't want to focus on those people. Those people will come if they find their way, maybe put feelers out there, but you need to focus on the fact that who buys books. You need to make the people that buy books happy. If this is only ever a boutique industry, that's fine. You got to make sure you're putting out exactly what the people in your boutique industry want. Getting to where you were going, and after all the conversations that I've been having with creators, and this is something I innately knew myself, but relationships is the other word for marketing. All marketing is developing and building relationships. Now, I know for creators, it's such a hard thing to do because what you find is Declan Finn, but he's like, well, I became a writer because I didn't want to talk to people.
Hey, Daniel, you want to shed some light on that for us? Now you got some thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You just talked about it. You show my stuff for me,
dude. He was like, I don't like to shill. I literally, because I call it the shilling. It's marketing yourself at the end of the show. I call it shilling. At the end of the episodes, for many episodes, he's better at it now. But he's like, oh, I'm good. I was like, no, I'm good. I don't want. Like he wouldn't want to do it. So I'd do the big presenter voice. Ladies and gentlemen, what you need to understand right now, there is a man here who can pull that thought out of your head and put it onto the paper. And if you would like to see the absolute fantastic skill that he has while doing it and the care that he has for your story, go visit whimsyland.org. I did that at the end, and it was always something different every week. Yep. But because he wouldn't chill, and now he will start shilling his own stuff now because I've made him so uncomfortable by doing
Not really.
Well, it's amusing is that if you ever read my show notes, it's called shill at the end where I pitch my website to go get services.
That's awesome.
It's like, I know what it is. Yeah. And the point is that if I'm going to be talking to the right people, if I'm targeting the right people, they're going to want the product anyway. So it doesn't matter. Like that's it.
Yeah, but for me, the whole point of the I don't shill thing was a playful gimmick to get Royce to do it for me because it's his building.
After a while, not in the beginning. Don't try to retroactively change stuff. It's all on YouTube. We can see it. We can watch it.
But the beauty of this is that that's what you want is other people doing the work for you. You want people if you're doing your job and you're doing it well enough, and people are naturally going to talk about you. They're going to want you to be successful because you've solved their problem. You've helped them so much. And when you're doing books and stuff, like I know it feels different. It's like, well, problem solving is the nature of marketing. How do I get this in front of people? How do I get people want this? And there's a lot of psychological things that go into that.
True.
And it's different when you guys who have, say, a need, like this person needs something. Well, you have to understand that when you're dealing in entertainment, you are effectively dealing in needs. What you're dealing with is people have a lot of time that they want to kill. Which is why no matter they say AI is going to destroy everything, there's going to be no jobs. And I relish that time because you know how many people are going to be out there creating roller coasters and new theme parks and new books, and just because it's going to be everyone is going to have nothing but time to kill if they don't have a job. So the idea that there is a world in which there's nothing to do. Well, it's great that there's going to be nothing but time to fill and endless people trying to fill your time.
And everybody that I've spoken to, that I've worked with in my business, I always have the same conversation at the end, which is, do you want me to write you a testimonial or something? And I'm like, shout outs, testimonials. It's all wonderful. Absolutely. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah. I don't generally say to the person at the end of the project, can you write me a testimonial? But we always have the conversation, and I don't go looking for it, but I'm happy to accept it because that's marketing, networking right there.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. Hold on. I have a question here, and that is that I feel like there is, which I think this is kind of funny for a bunch of ostensibly at least non-left wing, non-collectivist people, is that the talk about money and making money always feels icky to people, right? And I think that to a certain degree, if you're like, pay me, there's obviously a line. But I feel like so many people don't even approach that line.
May I
how
add?
do you feel?
May I add something to that,
Sure,
Richard? That's just my own thought. Here it is. It's not that the fact that paying. It's why I don't ask for money. That asking for money feels icky, right? Like that's not it at all. It's I was raised that you earn money by working with your hands. You build something, you do something, you tear out a shrub from the ground, you go mow someone's lawn, you clean out the gutters, there is a noticeable difference in this project that's in front of you. And that's kind of colored my perception for my life, how my dad raised me. So for me to be like, hey, go pay me money on my Gilded feels weird because it's like, I didn't build, I don't feel like I put something tangible in someone's hands.
Well, let's
that's a little bit of a different thing. And maybe that's different, but I wanted to contextualize that. Maybe we can touch on that later.
These actually all kind of come together in my mind.
Yeah, go ahead. And I won't go back.
I think you can answer this one.
Okay, first things first. What you're talking about is people not valuing what they do. Period. Like I'm going to tell you right now, like if I'm doing work for somebody, and even if it's something like something is setting up your social media and putting out social media posts, it sounds like an easy job because you make 1 million posts. Mm-hmm. But I spend once a week a 2-hour block of time just to put out to plan out all of the content from one episode of my podcast on Twitter. Just the stuff I'm going to put on Twitter. I will spend 2 hours planning it out, mapping it out, copying links, uploading videos, doing all that just on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I hate to break to you, that's work. It is time invested. And if I'm doing that for you, I'm doing work for you. Like if you've written a book, how many hours of thinking and time and effort have you put into? And you're wrong. I'm a blue collar guy. I've done the factory work. I spent 10 years in the ATM industry. Like I've done the work with my hands thing. I like working with my hands. Electricity is a lot of fun, But to say that that's any different or any less meaningful, it's devaluing what you're doing. And this is a problem across the board with creators. That whole comics broke me hashtag exists because creators don't put enough value in what they do. And, I have a short that's been floating around out there, and it's like, if you don't value what you do, nobody else ever is. Because
correct,
there's a certain amount of if you don't believe in it, you're not going to talk about it. You're not going to present it in a way that's going to feel useful. It's going to feel like, if it's just a hobby to that guy, then, I don't need to invest in it. The guy's like, no, I wrote a book. I put hours of my life into this. I think it's pretty damn awesome.
Months.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You can contextualize however much time you put into it.
Months, years, sometimes decades, depending on how deep you go into it.
And if you can't at least put that in your, then why was anybody else going to? They're just going to assume that he's a player. He's dabbling. He's not doing this. You have to portray yourself as a professional in what you do and believe that that's the case. Period. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're welding something or I'm running a line in a house. Like the bottom line is, it's taking up hours of my life that I'm never going to get back, and I've done a lot of work to be able to do this thing. So, refresh me on the question because I know I had another point that I wanted to make for you, Richard.
So I said that I think it's kind of funny
asking for money. So here, the bottom line is, if you're good at what you do, people want to give you money. Period. And you're not doing anything outside of telling them how to do that. You're not telling them. You're giving them a solution to a thing that they want to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think that's kind of been my feeling, and I think that there's right ways and wrong ways to market your, well, not necessarily market yourself, but make it possible for people to support you, and that different people are going to want to do different things for how different communities spend their money. That's all part of it. But I think at the end of the day, it's important for people to be able to support creators, whether it's Royce for a show or Daniel for the latest G Sedai novel, you know what I mean, or a comic in this case. And I said, I don't know when it was, but a while ago, I said, the culture that gets funded, overwhelmingly, what gets funded is what gets created, culturally speaking. And we can scream into the night about how crap Marvel movies are, but they got hundreds of millions of dollars worth of financing, and therefore they got made, even when they were absolutely sucking, And there's all these other things that didn't. Now, there's obviously lots of reasons and more complicated stuff behind that, but kind of at like the very simplistic level, I think that people need to value their time. That's a very good point.
Yep.
Well, and it's the thing is because it always comes back to that. It always comes back to I don't because people are looking for outside validation so much that they're deciding the value of this thing based on what other people think. And bottom line is what people will pay you for what you did is determined by the market and what else is out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't even get to the point where that gets determined if they don't believe that you have a product worth purchasing. And that part starts with you, period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to creators who aren't sure? Now, I have a hypothetical here for you. There's two creators. One feels like their work isn't really worthwhile, and they're reluctant to try and they don't feel that value, so therefore they don't open up avenues to be supported to people, right? Mm-hmm. But their work is actually great and people would pay them for it. Then there's another creator who their work genuinely needs improvement pretty substantially, but they kind of feel all right about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like maybe they're not totally out of touch with reality, but they do greatly misunderstand the market value and they're trying to get out there. Are there signs? Like, how do you tell as a creator, how do you tell which side of the spectrum you're on? You know what I mean? Am I overvaluing my work and trying to push it into the wrong market and I'm just not doing a good job marketing? Or do I need to go back and hone my craft? You know what I mean? Are there indicators that you would get from your audience or things like that? Because that's kind of a
that's a really, really difficult one. And
it's a deep question.
What you find, and I'll say, so I don't know if you've ever gone through any business courses or done anything any mindset courses, but no matter what you do, the biggest thing that as someone who wants to go and be an entrepreneur, wants to be a business person, the first, the last, and then everything in between, it's all about mindset. And they're going to try like hell to get you to work around what you'd call self-limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you do think too highly of yourself. Your market will tell you that. Like if you're not going to get what you want from it, and if you're either going to do one of two things. You're either going to adjust to the market around you, or you're going to stop doing it because you don't think it's worth it because you think too highly of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Either way is a fine way to react to that. But if you're too afraid to put yourself out into the market and get that, then you're never going to be successful. Period.
Yeah, you're never going to
get that signal. Exactly.
Yeah.
You haven't even gotten out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think that so many people just need to, go out there and give it a
build
try.
Some relationships.
Build some relationships, try things. You got to have that inner circle that kind of helps helps you understand, where you are within your skill group outside of marketing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well, and one thing I do love, especially about in the comics community that I've definitely seen is, man, people are so excited to like share what they've done. I mean, frankly, in almost every walk of life, people are really excited to share the thing they know about.
Mhm.
And we'll talk to pretty much anyone who will listen if you'll talk like nuts and bolts and like the nitty gritty of what they do. And, when talking to Donald, he was like, I asked him, did you get into comics? He's like, well, I sent this creator I really liked a message or said something. I'd really like to work with so-and-so. And then like had some of my work posted and the guy actually like, hey, let's work on something. And next thing you know, he's making an Image Comics comic book with this guy. So it's
Wow.
like, shoot your shot. Like you don't know
Mhm.
dick until you actually try and you and it's so easy on Twitter here. Like meeting people that know and do stuff is ungodly easy. Now, sometimes you have to wade through the nonsense of the people that post crazy stuff, but it doesn't take very long to find people that do what you want to do.
So speaking of crazy stuff, do you think that I was gonna go off on something, but never mind. As an example of crazy stuff,
I'll go as crazy
I'll
as you
control
want to go
myself.
here, boss.
Hey! Nobody's taking my title from me on my
I
show.
was gonna say, yeah, we'll rein it in for now. Save that for after.
I promise you, there's nothing I haven't said way more insane on Punk Rock.
Okay, let's get
We'll see.
Royce demonetized here. No,
God, no. Okay.
oh no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. Back to what I was actually gonna say.
Aw.
Speaking of the crazy stuff, do you feel like there are creators out there who are like hurting their brand with some of their social media, or do you think that it's kind of like you just have to find the market that you're looking for? You know what I mean? Because some people
Are you
can,
asking the Rage Monkey question, Richard?
but you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like there's some big
There-
authors who go out there and they
So-
poke the bear. I saw him today, like poking the bear.
And some people are fantastic at it, and some people are terrible at it.
Yeah, so
number
it's
one,
more like, are you good at it?
Well, it depends. Number one, on your audience, and if you have an audience
Mhm.
that's going to be interested in that. I what's his name there? He just had a great tirade earlier. There's yesterday, and I can't remember. But some guys are just really good at like digging into the controversy, making it their own, and like
Mhm.
they can turn it around in such a way. Some people, I don't think, have the confidence to command that. So unless you're really good at courting that and dealing with it, and maybe taking a few barbs, like it takes a constitution to be able to deal with a lot.
And
of
I don't think that most people. I'm going to be honest. I don't think most people are good at it.
Most people.
Larry
are
Correa, that's what I was thinking.
I found like I am the polar opposite because I tried doing that. Not all the time, and sometimes like if there's something I'm passionate about, but I don't do the Rage Monkey stuff. But like you try to do that. I found that my personality and the thing that I'm most passionate about is being the overwhelming like positive guy,
Yeah.
which
Agreed.
that's what I'm good at because I genuinely have that. But when I see all these other people being like the Rage Monkeys, oh, they've got thousands of views and millions of followers and this, that, and the other thing. And I tried to emulate that. I was being disingenuous with myself, you know?
And right there is probably, it goes along with the relationships part of this. And a couple weeks or a couple months ago, I think me and my wife, we were looking at like, so what do I want to classify myself? What is the type of marketing that I'm doing? What is this whole thing? And so we settled on the post-corporate marketer. And the idea being that we've all grown up in a world where corporations have whatever goodwill ever existed has been completely squandered. Like no one trusts absolutely anyone. And so the best thing that you can do is go out there, be genuine, build trust, and it will immediately separate you. If you can be trusted and that's impeachable, then no one can come anywhere near what you offer because no one trusts anybody else.
Yep.
So you build your community.
Agreed.
They learn to trust you, and you're going to have loyal fans forever. If you as long as you manage that, and the big thing about that is being honest. You know, you have all these, you know, Twitch people that go, like, they put on these shows and they put on the personality. And I understand that to agree. Like, as a performing musician on stage, like, I'm a pretty, like, stay at home kind of guy. But then I understand there's that point when I go and perform. But I always try and make it, like, yes, it's an elevated version of who I am, but it's still who I am.
Bingo. What you just said, I was thinking myself, is an elevated version of who you are. And especially on stage, it's someone who's done it. That is, and we're not talking like a little bit elevated. We're talking about like magnifying who you are 5 times. And I love that. And it really is true. It's finding who your personality is and just being you and just making sure that that's, you know, and it's and I don't think a lot of people understand that. There's a difference between elevating your personality and taking those parts of your personality that are a little bombastic or so on and so forth. And there's a difference between changing your personality. Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that.
Well, I had the opportunity to learn firsthand because for the past decade, I've had an acoustic duo called Big Love Acoustic Duo. And me and my partner, we go out there. I'm guitar player, sometimes lead singer, mostly backup singer. And he's the natural showman. He's the guy, like, you know, he's the MC guy. You put a mic in his hand, he's just going to get it. And in those first 3 to 4 years of us performing together, like, you know, initially I thought, oh, this is what it takes to be the MC, to be the guy, to be the front man, to be the showman. But what I learned was I was never going to be able to be John. I was never going to be able to do what he did because it's not me. That's him. He goes out and does it. It's very natural to him. For me, like, I'm a dark, sarcastic, weird kind of guy. And, you know, as long as I'm true to who I am, but do it confidently enough in front of people. And that's the big thing is owning the confidence and being able to just unapologetically be who you are. That is what really sets you apart. And so, you know, he's like the fun, normal guy who gets to crack jokes at my weird expense to all the crazy stuff that I'm going to say on stage, you know. It builds the dynamic. We each get to have our own little ecosystem and personalities that develop. But if I'd never been in that situation, I don't know that I'd ever really learn what it meant to kind of do that.
Yep.
Well, and
I have a quick
with
question.
The 3 of us.
Yeah.
No, that's true. It's. I mean, I'm the guy that I will go off on. I like, what was it? It was last Sunday or the Sunday before. I did 3 rants, 3 what people would call like rage rants, because I just work myself up, and that's not. But that's just me. Like, I have conversations with myself and piss me off, and then I have to argue with myself about the thing I pissed myself off about. That's just that is just me. You know, you come in with the voice, you know, the ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Drink. But eventually I settle into my own voice, but it's me, you know, and then I've told I've told Daniel and Richard like so many times, I'm like, guys, I don't know how you fucking stand a guy like me. Like, but they come in
and
and they
in this mug.
It's my God. But they balance out the show, and they you know, they offer those different parts, and they've never been fake. They've never not been real, you know. And I've heard so many times that people love the dynamic that's here because we're just real. We're just us.
4 of me on any show would be completely intolerable. I'm very, very aware of that.
So,
but what it means, great color.
I never put it in that context. Oh my God, that would be the worst thing ever.
That is pretty horrifying thought. So, 4 Royces at the same time. For me, on the other hand, I think that'd be. Okay.
Or Richards would just be quietly working.
I was going to say,
there'd just be nothing. That one painting.
Not a lot's going to happen.
You'd hear the white. You dude. You would. You hear the AC unit over you. You hear the air coming out of the.
No, right. Yeah, exactly. It'd be real exciting.
Oh God.
I love.
It'd be kind of the same with me, but every once in a while we'd like toast each other.
Oh, don't make me laugh while I drink.
Oh, dear. So,
That hurt.
have you ever heard of Naval Ravikant? He's a angel investor, and he also has done some, philosophical musings. I've mentioned him. He's a favorite of mine.
No, actually.
Okay, so
the last name sounds familiar. The first one doesn't.
well, it's funny because he primarily is like goes around posting under the Naval
Okay.
name. You might have seen it and thought it was naval, but anyway, and then thought I'm not going to click on that.
Why does
But anyway,
Ravikant sound so familiar to me?
I
read a book.
He's been behind a bunch of different startups. He's like
Okay.
a multi-time .com, big time winner type. But one of the things that he said, and I recently was listening to a song composed of one of his talks, is escape competition through authenticity. And I think that is kind of one of the lessons that people have to
There's only
learn.
one
I think
you.
that's- yeah, exactly. And his point being that nobody can outcompete you being you.
You're the best.
You know,
Best
and
at it.
yeah, you just have to figure out what you are doing and what you want to do. Yeah, Gary Vee is I sorry, I just saw in chat, but Gary Vee is another one. I was just listening to another one of the same songs from the same artist who takes and recuts these things. And he's talking about, like, if you don't Gary Vee, that is, if you aren't doing what you want to do and what you think you would be the best at, then what are you doing? You've got one life. Like, go do it. And I think that's
potential.
yeah, I think it's a very powerful message that is sometimes kind of cheesy, but it's I still think it's very true.
Gary Vee is somebody that, like, I don't have anything against it. Like, I like Gary Vee, and I am always up against the fact that it's like, yeah, Gary Vee got really lucky. It's not like he started with no money and like nothing. His family did have a business. He found a way to like take his family's business and 10x it because he happened to do something at the right part of time. That being said, his endless positivity is always something that I appreciate. And
Same.
and the only reason he did successfully do what he did is because he took the chance and said, I'm going to run and push until this happens. And if you don't, like, I will never tell anybody that you're going to be successful no matter what. Bottom line is, there's a lot of things that all have to line up for you to be like the top tier in anything that you're ever going to do. What I can tell you, it's the old Gretzky quote. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So if you don't line up, you don't get in the place to try and make things happen, you don't take steps to do it, you're guaranteed to never get there.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's kind of one of these things where I very rarely listen extensively to everything that people have done, but I think that there are important tidbits from all sorts of different people. So
What did Hitler give us?
Yeah, right. Well, hold on.
If we're talking about tidbits that people gave from us, I will let me throw this out here. Here's some homework for the chat. I very rarely ever give homework to the chat because they're all
Interesting.
yeah. I want one of my historical heroes from World War I, Eddie Rickenbacker. I want the chat to go look up Eddie Rickenbacker and his story and what he did and why his story made such an impact on me. Because there were a lot of things working against him. And he was one of the few people who were actually in World War I granted, essentially, it was the Foreigner's Medal of Honor from France. The guy was a complete and total badass. He also received medals in the U.S. here. But that story, and again, chat, go look it up. Go look up Eddie Rickenbacker. I'm not going to give away the details here. But that guy there had an undeniable determination to just do the thing that he set his mind to. And that is one of the things that inspires me to this day and it's part of the reason I tell people don't give in to the lazy. Because for me, the lazy is the crux of my existence. Like it's that thing that oh, I'll just sit on the couch for 5 minutes. I'll just take 5 minutes. It'll be fine. And then 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes turns into an hour. And then an hour turns into a day. And then a day turns into a week. And then weeks turns into months. And all of a sudden, that thing that I wanted to do, I didn't do. And that is the one thing that I've seen from a lot of people. And along that journey of doing the thing is learning. I think of a YouTube channel right now who instead the best version of marketing, the guy is out there all the time telling people to subscribe, telling people to watch his channel, but the best version of marketing is figuring out how you connect with the audience the most, building those relationships. And a lot of people don't understand how their personality fits into the grand scheme of things, fits into the fandom side of things.
So I actually had a guy I was talking to maybe a week or two ago, and he was complaining about one of the questions that he was asked by a publisher, and the can't remember exactly what the question was. It was something to the effect of, why are you the only person that could write this story?
Oh yeah.
I saw that discussion. I think.
Well, and my frustration was, and it's not really frustration, it's just that I can understand why, as a creator, well, I wrote the story, so obviously it's me. But that's not what that question's really about. And it gets to what you're talking about there, Royce. That question is really about how can we connect you with your potential readers? As I'm sitting there and I'm in the bookstore and I've got these two books in my hand. They're both cool monster covers. I know there's going to be a monster in them. Someone's going to fight a monster. And I have to make a decision because I've only got $15. Why do I pick that one? Why is that the book I go with? And I'm going to flip that book over, and it's how I connect with each of those authors. And the thing, there's going to be keywords in there that trigger my own psychology and connection with my psychology, and how, like, all purchasing, what they'll say is you're trying to enter the conversation that people are already having in their head.
Yep.
And the way to do that is to find as many connection points as possible. And this gets, when you talk like broader marketing strategy, you can look at touch points. How many times it takes to hear something before it sounds familiar or before you trust it? Well, the numbers I've seen are usually like between 17 and 23 before someone's actually willing to buy anything. And I think it's the number, like between 13 and 17 is the number of times you have to hear a song on the radio before you like the song. That's why you have heavy rotation. The idea is they play the song enough that eventually it just starts triggering familiarity in your brain, and familiarity means as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Not wrong.
That's why I said that. That was something that I learned a couple of years ago. Was somebody called it the rule of sevens, and it's rotation of 7 times. The first 7 times is. After that, it's, I recognize this. And then from there, it becomes a steady progression of, I'm paying more attention. This is actually not bad.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. Okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
I might, start looking into it. You get to the research phase, and it builds towards the buy button.
And Draw and Talk shared like the upside down pyramid the other day, and I know I retweeted it because there's that basically illustrates what you get those numbers mean. There's a point at which somebody doesn't know anything about you and they're first introduced, and the more you can walk them down that path of familiarity to eventually a purchasing decision, that's what we're all trying to do. It's an upside down pyramid, it's a funnel, whatever you want to call it. It's the roadway to get people from never heard of somebody to I want to buy this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's sort of what I embraced with Whimsyland. My idea behind coaching and like literary coaching and services was to, like you're doing, that's why I said it's like the marketing version of me, to help people and sustain myself while I'm doing it, obviously, because it is a service. But the first thing I say to everybody and post on Twitter constantly is consistency is key. You got to show up. Even if it's just 1 day, 1 hour every day. You've got 24. Take one. Put some words down in that 1 hour every day. 500, 100, like me, 1,000 or more, depending on the groove I'm in. But it all stacks up. If you can do, I used to say 1K a day. If you can do 1,000 a day, 5 days a week, say, you don't even do it on the weekends. It's 5,000 words a week. 10 weeks, you've got 50,000 words, half an hour.
Yep.
You're halfway there. And it's just by taking that little bit of time to just do it, whether or not you actually want to or not. It's just to do it.
Yeah, very true. I also think that. Okay. Speaking of time, how much time do you think that most people should be spending on social media? and like what is the
wait.
estimate of the formula?
Social media marketing or social media?
I'm just asking, how much time should you spend on interacting on all these things?
So
I know it varies somewhat.
Social media is a part of things. Honestly, what I recommend most people do is get into email. Like get everybody you can off of Twitter, somebody else's ecosystem, and get them to where you have a direct line of communication with them. And communicate as much as possible. So because I come from marketing, I have a
that was my Gilded for me.
Yeah, exactly. Now I would say the problem with Gilded is eventually they can kick you off Gilded. I can say that with Substack's had money troubles in the past year, and if they go kaput, if you don't have your email list printed off of there that you can take to some other email service, it can all end there. Like I have a 6-month book promotion campaign that I sell, and one of the line items on that is what we call list maintenance, and that is literally the half an hour I'm going to spend once a week to go and make sure that your list is downloaded off of wherever you use to reach people. And that if I'm seeing anyone that has never opened an email, get them off there, because all those names are something that you eventually have to pay to have on there. And if they're not doing you any good, they're not opening them, get them gone. They're not your people. Yep. And what I was going to say is that because I come from the email marketing world.
John's right too.
I literally get, we'll say I've got people that email me between 1 and 4 times a day. Now that's because these guys are email marketers trying to pitch you on email marketing. But the bottom line is that if you want someone to reach you and you go through the trouble of setting that up, no one's going to be upset with more communication. Like the more insight you can give them. And I've heard ingenious ways. I've had people on the show that they'll do their email as in character. So every email they send out is through the voice of one of the characters that they write within the stories. It gives you a whole new palette of ways to immerse the people that are into what you do into your thing. But it's because I come though, it's like the amount of time that this takes. There's a certain degree, it takes the amount of time that it takes. Like I said, for my podcast, in a release an episode, I spend setting up between 19 and 27 posts that go out on Twitter every week throughout a week to promote the most recent episode of my podcast. And the bottom line is most people, unless you tag them in them, are going to see maybe a third of those. Just because that's the way the algorithm works. If you're on Facebook, they'll never see any of them. So the amount of time it takes to do what your goal is. I think of all marketing as you're trying to solve a problem. How do I get people to pay attention? How do I get eyes on this thing? So when I approach anything, it's like, so we'll look at what are the tools that we have available? What outlets do you have? What ways can we leverage these to go out and reach people? And then it's like, how much time does it take to do all of that we want to do? Like if I'm putting together a 6-month book promotion, I have you emailing at least, I personally like at least once a week. If you're not emailing once a week, you give a lot of time for people to find something else to be interested in. I don't know if you've ever had an email you've looked at why am I getting this? Who is this? I probably signed up for this at some point, but I don't know what this is because they haven't emailed me in 6 months. It's been 2 months. I don't know what this is anymore. Keeping that constant line of communication keeps people in your world. It's a constant way to keep them salivating for the next thing. If nothing else, it just keeps you fresh in their brain. It keeps you something.
Yeah.
Where I was going with that is, so in that 6 month campaign, I would recommend an email a week at least, and then I think for like the 2 week period, that is the your actual release date. I think there's like 27 emails that go out from the beginning to the end of that 2 week period. Like on the actual release day, there's 4 different emails that go out. And the idea being is you're trying to make sure that people have no chance of missing you when all of the things on the internet want them to miss you. Like all of the algorithms are designed to well, and that's the things like I'm still not awesome necessarily at like coming up with topics for emails. The guy, I'd say, if you want to see how someone can make anything about email, Ben Settle and Tom Woods are 2 of the best at it.
You know,
they will. I don't even know how they turn their emails into selling what they sell half the time because it's just like I was reading about ducks and now you're selling me this program. I don't get it, but it works.
So a lower level author, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He does a weekly release on Substack, but Substack sends out to your email. But the guy who wrote this book here, Rob Rhymes, the way that he writes his weekly updates in his Substack that subsequently go out as emails.
He's the best, by the way. I love looking at his posts.
Dude, Rob is
a machine.
He's highly productive, and he does a lot of very smart stuff with his brand.
Mm-hmm.
He understands his audience. Like you can tell
he does
because he knows the buttons to push.
He does, and Rob is one of those guys that when I see his headlines in what comes across my email, I take more time to look at those because it's like, oh, what's going on this week? And I have limited, and that's all right. I just made me think of a question. How narcissistic. How do you go about, okay? Because I'm a guy who has limited time. I don't have a lot of time. I have many things going on. I have the day job. I have the wife. I have the kids. I have my passion project, and those things take top priority. I'm sorry, my wife and kids, they mean more to me than anything else in the world. And then the day job has to soak up a lot of my time. I don't have a lot of time. And Rob Rhymes, when he puts out his emails, I may not read all of them, and I may not read all of them all the way through, but his headlines and the way that he speaks gets me to go, I'm going to check this out for a second. And so I at least take the time out of my day and time that I don't have to read Rob Rhymes. How do you, as in the marketing world, get people who have busy schedules and have no time in their day, dedicate time to that thing that you're writing every week in an email list?
Well, and that's exactly it. It's the thing that Rob does is he understands his audience. And this is it's the easiest thing in the world and it's the toughest thing in the world. And it also boils down to building those relationships. Mm-hmm. The better you know these people that are reading your stuff, the knowing the TV shows that they watch, knowing the kind of ages, like one of the things that you can do about that is you can kind of make references to things that are going to trigger in their brain. Like I we at the very beginning of this episode, we were talking MySpace.
Yeah, that
thing triggered something in all of us because
we're all old.
We're clearly of a certain age, and if I'd have made that, I guess of a
certain age, that's going to be my email list.
but the point is that you have to know the things that are going to light up in your audience's brain, and I think Rob is just absolutely fantastic with that.
He really
is. This out there. If Rob is watching the show, Rob, I've been trying to reach you. I've been trying to reach you in every medium I can because I really want to get you on Iron Age marketing, and you're very difficult to get a hold of.
hit me up. Hit me up or hit us
I
up. We'll get you in
Yeah.
contact if you need.
I don't want to share any like major personal
No,
information.
you're
but
good. I
he
know.
was in the process of moving, so
See,
I
he's
yeah.
kind of off
But-
looking at stuff. But we can get you in touch with him pretty.
But
Yeah.
but like you said, he understands his audience. His things like sometimes have nothing to do with what they're talking about, but they get you to boom, stop. That I can relate
That-
to that, and then I
That
go.
right there. That I'm busy with my day with my day to day. What? And again, you said it. It's knowing your audience, because Rob will say something, and maybe it's just because I know him a little bit more than just through the internet. I've had conversations with him, but Rob will put something out, and I will stop if I'm taking just a minute to just sit down and crack a beer and take a few sips from a beer in the middle of my welding project that I have going on, and I see a Rob Rhymes email come through, I go, I need to look at this because of how he phrased it, what he said. Like, Rob does a great job at making me go, I need to stop sipping my beer and set that down and take 30 seconds to at least skim through what he's saying. Because I'm that type of person. I'm too busy. I'm always on the move.
Once again, you're trying to worm your way into the conversation that people are already having in their heads.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Like, how do I bully my way? Because it's the bottom line is we all have our own lives. Like, I've got a wife, I got a kid of my own, I've got the other crap that I do. I sometimes like to play music, so it's.
I would like to play music more. I would like to get to a life where I can play music more.
Wouldn't we both?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
If I could just do one Christmas song a year, I'd be happy.
I had an idea for a Christmas song this last year. I got to call a buddy of mine. A buddy of mine had a riff that was really, really good, and yeah. Anyway,
it very much is bullying, though. I wanted to bring that point up that you mentioned. I personally am a chronic unsubscriber. I joined a networking and marketing group called the Nomad Network a couple of months back, and within the hour of signing up, I got 5 emails from that program. Just boom, 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 right after the other. And as soon as that happened, I didn't even look at the titles. I didn't even care. It was just like, no, unsubscribe.
Well, you know what the beauty of that is, though. You were not a serious. You were for what they're trying to do. You weren't a serious buyer, because if you were, you would have stuck around. And like that's there's a certain amount of like you're weeding out, trying to get down to like your hardcorest of your hardcore.
That makes sense.
List. Like these are the people that really, really want to hear from you. They gave you a direct line into their email to contact them.
Yeah.
And so drilling into exactly who those people, because those are the people that you're going to contact. Like, there's going to be some of those people that actually respond to all of those emails that you send out. And those are the people that you're going to contact.
Not me.
No, exactly. Just not you. And there's no shame in that. I've jumped through, like, I've had people whose email lists I wanted to be on so bad. I spent 20 hours of time trying to get on their email list. I've downloaded apps on my phone that I needed to download.
That way about an email.
Well, part of this particular dude, Daniel Throssell is his name, and he hit every button. Like there was like D&D references built into this. Like the idea was you're actually equipping every like new email you learn. Like you get to pick up a new piece of equipment and on your way to learning how to do email marketing, whatever it was. 20 hours of like through this email. Like I think it was something like maybe 11 or 12 different landing pages designed. And this guy writes a ton. Like his pages are super long. So by the time I'd read through all of them, done it was set up almost like a choose your own adventure at every stage of this guy's thing. He had a buddy who drew a whole bunch of like anime characters for all of like for him, his family, and everybody referenced within this like email list. And the whole time he's telling you like it's done story like. So you wake up, hey, you're in a dark room, your balls are being smacked by a rock. How are we? And all of a sudden they say, hey, we got to get out of here, and we start running. And from that point on, it's like this weird pseudo D&D.
I'm sorry.
anime
Can
adventure.
you run when your knees are that weak after your balls have just been slapped?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. For those guys out there, can you actually run after you've been hit and it just?
It's a good question.
That is a good
We're putting aside our disbelief for this.
This is the strongest man's that has ever mans. Yes, he can run after he gets his balls smashed with a rock.
but like, so all these hours invested in like the writing and the reading, it was so entertaining to me. Like I was willing to go through this process, and then by the time like if you get to the final, like I say things that piss people off, you're probably not going to like me. Are you sure that you want to do this? Because he's like, I make it a point to constantly kick people out of my email list. So it was, for him, it's like he doesn't want kind of people that are going to be a problem. And so he's giving you every chance to weed yourself out. Like if you make it that far, you got a pretty good constitution for some of the types of jokes and humor that he's going to have. And it means you really are interested in the product that he has to offer if you're going to stick around through all of that. Just period. And if I had more money, I would buy everything that dude puts out just to read it because it's ridiculous. But you can see like how you can utilize that as an integral part of like what you do. Like I did it because it was entertaining on top of, wanting what he had to offer. Like nobody's going to spend that much time if they're not having fun doing it and reading through that story, and you get to see all the new characters pop up. And, he had creative ways. Like I think one of the characters was a guy who's at the top of this giant tower that you fly a dragon up to get to. And then that dude is someone who knows how to do like, I want to say it was, not one of like the freelance websites. He's a guy who had reached the most you could be paid on that website as a freelancer, and he's gonna give you all of his wisdom or whatnot. But it's all done through the story medium,
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Well, it's the idea that anyone can have so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, once again, I say this because I come from a land where we're all email marketers and we like reading what other people write. So, and Ben Settle sends me 4 emails in a day, and I'm trying to dissect what he's doing in all of them. I mean, to me, like that's entertainment. I enjoy doing it. Like when you're looking at the psychological patterns that he's setting up with the writing, with the headlines and all that. Like, how do you get me from point A to point B is brilliant. But that's it's not for everybody. That's because I'm really interested in that. That being said, all of that, what's used to do that as an author, it gives you this new palette of ways to connect. And those people that stay on that list, those are the ones you're going to say, hey, I'll give you a free PDF of this next book if you read it and go and give me that, Amazon, go and actually review it. Yeah. Those are the people that are going to do whatever you ask them. They're the people that will go out and spam 50 of their friends to buy your book. And being able to determine those people versus the people who are just kind of casuals is super important.
Yeah, it is very true. So one thing that, you see this all the time on Twitter and any platform, really. It's like kind of like the follow back people, right? They're following 20, they have 20,000 followers, but they're following like 25,000 people. You know what I mean? And I think the thing that a lot of people encounter is that you have a current kind of standard, the social media standard, it seems to be, is to just get numbers, and then the quality of those numbers, how core fan base or whatnot is really like, I don't know, you look at engagement and all these other things. There's all sorts of different metrics to look at, but I think at the end of the day, there's obviously a huge difference. Do you think that there are too many people chasing kind of like just amassing random followers rather than trying to like
chasing
kind of
the numbers?
Well, once again, this goes back to understanding what your goals are. Like what,
Mhm.
like because I approach everything from a problem solving perspective. We want to know what you want to accomplish, why you want to accomplish it, and then create a plan for it. Like I liken everything back to pedal boards in my head. If you've ever had a pedal or had a cord break in your pedal board in the middle of a show, and you've got to quickly figure out
Oh yeah, yeah.
where the problem is, there's a way to do it. You start at one end, you start it, and you just keep going until you find where the signal either starts or stops exactly.
Yeah.
And everything that you're doing within marketing is trying to find out where that signal stops. Where do I stop seeing people going down the funnel, down the path, getting them to where I want them to be? Emails are great because, as Royce pointed out, if you have a good headline and you can get them to read the email, you know your headlines are good. The next step is getting them to actually click through the email. So you know if they're clicking, but they're not clicking the next thing, it means the pitch that you're making within that email is the problem.
Yeah.
And then if you get them past, make that click to that email, they get to that landing page, they get to wherever you're trying to get them, get to the buy page. Is there something on that page that's, stopping them? Which this is, to me, is where you get into the other thing is like there's sales and marketing, and sales and marketing are the same thing, but they're different.
Yeah.
When I had Donald on, one of the things we were talking on is I asked him, what do you do in a Kickstarter? Because I'm endlessly fascinated by people's Kickstarters and how they run them and the different ways they work. And I asked him, he said, well, we get our spiel. And I'm like, okay, so what's your spiel? I want to know what is the spiel? And it's like, well, we talk a lot about, what we're doing and what this means to me. And to me, for marketing, I look at that last page and I'm like, why the last person in the world that I'm talking about on my sales page, which is essentially what a Kickstarter is me. They don't care about me. They care about this thing. And I want to know how this book that I'm about to hit purchase on is going to cure cancer and make my wife love me better. Like, that's what's most important to me as I'm purchasing. I'm giving away my hard-earned money. I'm giving away part of my life. Like I had to spend time doing something to make this money to give to you. What's warranting me doing that?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure this thing is going to have value to me. And sometimes value, maybe the value is as simple as you could spend 2 hours of your life watching a terrible Marvel movie, or you could find, 5 hours of reading this book that's going to let you connect at an emotional level with a character in a way that you're never going to be able to get out of a Marvel movie because that emotional depth doesn't exist.
Yep.
However that works for whatever your audience is, build that connection. But the difference is all of that. What does this mean to me? That's part of the brand. That's part of everything prior to that point.
Yeah.
Up until that point that you're building that connection with you. Great. We've got that connection to you. This thing, what does this do for you?
Yeah. So
like that.
on branding, that's something I was recently, not recently, actually, it was quite a while ago. Now that I think about it, I was talking to Vindicated Entertainment, who we spoke to a few weeks ago. He's a tabletop designer.
Tabletop,
RPG.
trading card games,
Yeah, well, kind of everything.
he's a game
Everything
designer.
tabletop.
He's
tabletop very broadly.
Yeah, he's. I mean, gather around the table and play those games. Like he will. I believe that Vindicated will make the monopoly of our generation. And I hope that he does, because I want to be able to be pissed off at my brothers while I flip over a Vindicated board. Right, but that's who he is. What was it? Milton Bradley? Was that
Yeah.
who? Milton.
I think it was Milton.
Yeah.
Well,
But that's who Vindicated is. But anyway, Richard, sorry, go on.
No, but my question is, as far as like branding and like these branding strategies, whether it's like brand archetypes or focusing on a particular style and aesthetic and things like that, like that is a whole separate science that I haven't really fully understood.
So what I would say to that is, and once again, because I'm an audio guy, this is something I harp on left and right with my people. Signal to noise ratio. No matter what you're doing, and I'm sure Royce will be able to say this with the podcast, when you're saying something, you want everything that you say to boost your signal and not counteract what you're doing, what your messaging is.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like, you don't want people to come here. Nobody comes here for movie reviews because that's not what you do.
Nope.
And so if you started
And
doing
I've
movie
tried.
reviews on your channel, it would just be noise to what people are expecting. And when you're building a brand, well, the thing that you need to focus on is, does this help? Like it could be at the aesthetic level. It could be, aesthetics is a lot about what people expect. And do people expect this to sound like this? Now you can have fun with it. And
Here, I tell you what, let me screw with some stuff real quick. You talked about aesthetics. Let me pull something up real quick. I got to open up this. But I like that you said aesthetics, because putting the wall together, and this is like the fourth or fifth wall. This isn't the... So if I do that, and then I do that, you can see the aesthetic of the wall. And then if I go even crazier with it, okay, and we're going to talk about aesthetics here.
Royce breaks something else on his desk.
No, I don't break things on my desk. I break the wall. But you can see how all of that has come together. And you can see there's a reason I chose blue as well. And I don't actually think anybody knows the origin of the reason why I have chosen blue for my background. And a lot of that reason, and why I really like the wall that my house just had, which was the blue, which is this same blue here, aesthetically speaking. When somebody, let's say you wear a shirt, or you're out in public, and someone says to you, and this happened to be many times when I was younger, specifically when I was wearing blue shirts very close to this, they would say, "Wow, blue is your color." Now, when a lot of people say that to you,
country song.
I don't know about the country song, but people said that to me a lot. Blue is your color. Wow. And blue is your color. Now, coincidentally, when I started doing my YouTube channel on a blue background, everything started to grow. Because then I read a blue background. I had a lot of this stuff behind me back then, but there is something to be said for aesthetics. And it's why I put all this stuff behind me. It's why I work on this. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to. My personality is as busy, if not busier, than this wall behind me. If I had a flat, white, plain wall behind me, it would not feel right when you're watching it. Like, man, this guy's a little bonkers. He's a little bit out there. But that wall, what's wrong with it? If there was too much going on back here that overrode my personality, it would throw people off. And so I have carefully gone over the fifth iteration of the wall to make sure that while I'm talking and while people can listen to what I'm saying, they can cue into a couple of things here that all fit my personality. And people do.
And they amplify your signal.
And they do. And it is, and I really wanted to cue in on that because nobody cues in on that. Most people do not cue in on the reason that all of this is here. Now, all of this is important to me. It's not just some random crap that I throw up. But all of this is important. And there's a reason that it looks the way that it does. And so many people don't understand the importance of just putting something behind you that represents you.
Well, look behind me. What do you see? You see a big thing of DVDs right there, more CDs than most people have ever seen outside of a Sam Goody and the other one.
Mm-hmm.
A big thing of books. For me, I'm an appreciator. I've always been an appreciator. I have physical copies of things because I want to have physical copies of things. It's important to me to have physical copies of things. I've invested a lot in the things that I have. And along the way to doing that, I've watched a lot of people do it good. A lot of people do it wrong in trying to get you to buy things. And for whatever reason, I'm wired in such ways that I actually find it incredibly interesting how people get you to buy things. I'm the guy that goes in there and someone's going to try and hard sell me in an electronics store, and I'll let him give his talk just so I can like go home with, he was good up until this point. He lost me there. He would have been better if he'd said this instead. Like, because I know my own psychology and I can know how I would be triggered by the things he would say. But that's not for everyone to be interested in that.
I need to share a story with you later because it is the most epic story of the guy trying to sell DirecTV to my wife.
Oh, good Lord.
And it was, and my wife called me and she is dying, and I'll have to share it later. But it was one of those things because I am a marketer's worst nightmare. Because all of the things that you think that I should like as a normal person, I don't like. I hate, I am probably on blacklisted marketing, and those exist. Don't ever call this out. Dude's a nut. Don't do it. It's amazing. I got to remind you. I've got to talk about that a little later.
You're the guy that walks out in a Speedo when the Mormons show up, right?
No. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm the guy that's like, well, pull your Bible out and I'll pull my Bible out. And let's have a chat. And then they don't come back. My mom is actually that person as well. I learned it from my mom.
I had him stop by the other day. I had a fun conversation myself.
Attaboy. No, I one of the all right, I got to tell the DirecTV story. I'm going to do this. I don't care. I'm going to do this. So this marketer calls the house and my wife answers and she's like, and he's like, hey, we're selling this thing. It's directed, blah, blah, blah. And my wife and I, we'd cut the cable cord. We'd never had it. We'd always streaming services. I pay for YouTube. We can watch anything that we want under the sun. Why would we pay for DirecTV? There's no reason to do it. Or what, satellite or whatever the hell it was. It was something like that. And the guy tells my wife, he goes, well, but if your husband, he said, ma'am, I got to tell you, but if you love your husband, like, you've got to check out this. We've got, and he goes into the sports package, right?
I already know where this is going.
and my wife sits there and lets the guy do his whole 1.5 to 2 minute spiel about the sports package. And she goes, my husband doesn't actually like sports. And the guy was like, and she's like, but I like to watch, like, I grew up in, she's like, I like to watch the Packers once in a while, like, and call my mom. And the guy just lost all energy. He had nothing after that. And my wife just killed him. And he's like, the guy had nothing after, but your husband should check out the sports package. So how would you tell somebody as a marketer if you say, here's my pitch, and that person goes, not really into that thing, what's their after pitch? What do you tell them for that?
Honestly, I say thank you, and then I move along to the next person who's ready to buy. I don't want to sell something to people who don't want it.
Mm-hmm. Good, but that was the point of that.
I would have liked to have gotten to that before I gave the 1.5 long spiel. If you want to be an expert marketer, the best thing you can do is ask questions. Because the more questions you ask, the better you know the person you're trying to sell to, and the better you can tailor, customize whatever message you're trying to sell them for that person. Mm-hmm. Those guys. The thing is the reason those guys in DirecTV make those spiels. And one of my good buddies and a former bandmate, he's a guy who sells really good. And the point is, for him, he's a Joe Everyman. He gets how 90% of people are because he's the kind of guy that 90% of people are, and so he can go and make an appeal to them. And guess what? He's going to make 90% of the sales because he's talking to 90% of the people. Especially in the place that we are, we have to understand that is not what we are. We are niche people talking to a niche of people. And guess what? They're hungry for it. The people want it. That's there. But you also need to understand that, look, you're not going to sell 2 million copies of your book because reaching the 2 million Dungeons and Dragons fans that are out there, it's going to take a lot of work to do that. And if you don't have a lot of people putting a lot of signal boosting behind that, that's gonna be difficult. But guess what? You don't need to. I'm a big fan of the 1,000 true fans model. If you can get 1,000 people that'll give you $5 a month for the rest of your life, I'm sorry, you're never gonna have to want for anything. That's
except for a carton of eggs here in like another 2-3 years, maybe.
Well, there's that.
No. I got chickens, bro. We're literally getting like a carton of eggs every day. So I got you, fam.
They're on my list. We haven't got them quite yet.
Okay, there you go.
Trying to get out of the rental.
There you go. Yeah. No. Guys, I'm gonna be 100% honest with everyone. I am fading fast, and I apologize for this.
I'm constantly eating pizza. What do you think is happening over here?
I've got packages to ship, so I mean, and probably half of them are to the viewers, so
I have strongly underestimated my ability to run an arc welder in the sun before I do a show, while also drinking beer, because
that's like a recipe to dehydrate yourself.
Drink whiskey like a real man.
I have kids, and if I drink whiskey like I drink beer, 12 ounces at a time, and my kids do not need to see that, man. That's why I drink my beer. But I'm trying to get my project done. I have a broken caster now. Bad things are happening. But I will say this, if it is okay, Nick, I am so sorry to do this, but I'm fading. And I'm having trouble maintaining the conversation because I'm an idiot and I decided to dehydrate myself and work with an arc welder before I hosted you here. That being said, I will give you a 100% rain check to come back anytime on the channel. You want to come back and be like, hey, I'm the marketing guy. You said I could market on your channel. You have a come on the show free card. You pop in the chat and you say, hey, I want to come on the show. And it's not even your show. Depending on the guest, I might let you do it. It depends on how good the conversation is. But
I also need to pop by sometime and talk on his channel. Or maybe we could do it on one of the Sunday chill streams or something like that. Because man, there's so many things where I think whenever I first messaged Nikki a while ago I can't remember. I was like, I have to confess, I've been putting off talking to you because I know whenever I talk to you, I'm going to have like even more things that I need to do. And like, I know in the back of my mind that I need to do them, but I don't know exactly what they are yet. And like, even just from this conversation, I'm like, I have like 4 new things that I must do.
There's always more you could do.
As like doing the band thing, being in a band will teach you more about everything that you're doing wrong and simultaneously not what to do right at the same time. Please tell me you understand that, because
without question, that's like 100% the truth. Like, I languished when I was actually doing the bands. That like, why does nobody care about it? So can I not do anything to make people care?
It will teach you everything that you're doing wrong and not tell you what to do right all at the same time. Being in a band is excruciating. And being in that ecosphere and all that, it's ridiculous. And the simplest thing I can say with marketing is specifically with this channel, my marketing with this channel, and I feel bad actually saying this because I actually do care, but it's going to sound soulless. So fuck you guys. Fuck you guys in the chat because I already know where we're going to go. My marketing for this channel, I found my home in what I love to do on this channel by saying, hey, I want to promote other people. Guess what? My channel's not about me. And I took that passion and writers and artists and and musicians. They all came to the channel. Now, I don't know if they're coming here hoping that I'll shout them out. I have no idea. But I know for me, I love being able to do something for other people. And for other people, sometimes it's, hey, I talked about for a minute on my live stream about this project that you're doing. And I've been there. And I know what it means to have somebody just mention what you're talking about. I know what it means to have your name mentioned on a live stream that you've been watching for years. It's ironically enough, in the last year, it's happened. I got to live stream with one of the people that I look up to, and not just once, but many times, which is Shadiversity from, which is Shad from Shadiversity. He's on Friday Night Tights all the time now. But I found my home in saying, I want to shout you out because I have kids and you guys are building that culture. I'm not that guy. That's not my job.
Exactly.
But what I can be is I can be the radio show host that talks about it.
Well,
And I don't know. That's where I'm at. That's I made my channel, and I'm making my channel off of the hard work of other people. But I know that those people need somebody to talk about them. And if nobody talks about them, who the fuck is going to talk about them? So let me talk about you. I'll talk about you because I want to. Huh?
The world needs professional appreciators. And to a degree, that's what I do and why I do what I do. I'll make this pitch. It's my last thing on here and say that if you go to ironagemarketing.com and it'll say book a consultation. A consultation is absolutely free. I will give...
And that is in the link in the description below.
I will give you an hour of my time. And the way I end every single one of those is I'm going to listen to everything that you're doing, and I'm going to try and find some way to get you to improve what you're doing. And I'm not going to charge you a dime for that first hour. And I'll tell you this much. After that hour, if you email me, you contact me on Twitter, wherever you contact me, you have questions and you want answers, I'll answer you. The only thing, if you want to pay for my services, because I'll be honest, it does take a lot of work to do the marketing stuff, and not everybody has all the time in the world. Sometimes it's just easier to pay someone to do the dirty work for you.
True.
But you can pay me to do that if you want to pay me to answer questions faster. That's what you pay me for. I'll talk marketing with anybody and try and help out anyone who asks, frankly. So you want to talk to me, you want me to look at your specific problems, I will guarantee everyone an hour of my time to do that and look at what they have.
It's incredibly generous too, because
that's a lot.
It's not always just an hour. It's the fact that you're getting a condensed education in something. It's like everything. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, it's the value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like for when I do that hour, most of what I'm going to do for the first half hour is just ask questions because I want to know what you're doing. Because whatever advice I give you, I want to tailor it to you and what you're doing, what you have at your disposal to work with. Like if I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, hey, you should be doing all this stuff with email, and you don't know how to set up your own autoresponder, you've never worked in that. Maybe I probably should have spent, hey, you spend a lot of time on Twitter. Here's 5 things you can do with Twitter that are going to advance your game a lot quicker. We can work on the email because you'd still be doing that. But let's push that down the road and work what we have to work with right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, the email list is probably something that I should work on in my Guilded because I have over 250 people in Guilded, and that's something I could work on. It's something I've thought about. But yeah, maybe I could do that. I don't know. That's
the backbone of any good indie author.
Oh. Hey, by the way, Nikki P, are you in my Guilded?
I'm not sure. I think I went there once. I'm not sure if I actually.
Oh, you went there once? Really? Really? All right. So here's how I market myself. Get in my Guilded, you dick.
I come in and I wreck places up. I'm a boysterous kind of guy, I'm welcome.
I don't know that
you've never been in my Guilded.
You ain't
gonna wreck my Guilded. They might wreck you, my Guilded is, as I love to call it, they are aggressively supportive. They're here to help, and you'll like it. That's how I call my guild.
Meetings will continue until the help is appreciated.
It pretty much. I will. All right. I am going to go over here really quickly before we bow out. I've got some super chats. I've got some rumbles. I've got all those things. Anthony Rondinelli, member for 6 months on the YouTube channel. This is one of those member chats that he gets. He says, a marketing solution is what the Iron Age needs. And he is not wrong at all in any way. That is 100% true. Maji Chan on YouTube sent in $1. She just sends in $1 for the support. Thank you so much, Maji Chan. And she supports the channel a lot behind the scenes. She has sent gift cards to me and my family, and she's actually the reason that me and my kids play like Nintendo Switch bowling now. So Maji Chan, she'll send in. So never ever think that just because you see the dollar amount on the screen in the live stream doesn't mean that people aren't helping behind the scenes, because I've received amazing help behind the scenes from a lot of different people. Kikomon for $5.
Appreciate Maji Chan.
Oh, Maji Chan's amazing. And she is actually writing Shalar, which is the book that started from a meme on my channel.
She's got my favorite anti-communist cartoon there too.
Yeah, see.
Love how much My Little Pony was anti-commie.
Kikomon for $5. Blue in Russian is pronounced Gulaboy, which also means gay. Fun fact. Fuck you, Kikomon. This is when I was talking about the blue wall and why I chose blue specifically for the back. Mario Trujillo. Roy. Oh, God.
Here we go.
Roy says, blue, dabo dee dabo die, you motherfucker. And just so you have context for that, my kids know every word to that song. Oh, Kikomon for $5 says, you just gave me an idea. I'm going to try to sell soy sauce in bulk next time someone calls me to tell me something.
I'm a telemarketer's favorite person because I answer the phone and say, why are you calling me? I don't want it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just say, take me off your list and immediately hang up. And that doesn't do any good, but
No.
There's a great
I know people that'll string them along. The best way to do it is probably the way that I won't, because I just won't dedicate my time. I've seen people do 20 minutes with a telemarketer.
Yeah.
And then at the end, just completely destroy them.
It seems like so rude and kind of a waste of time.
It's funny, though. It's really funny. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really funny.
2 really good ones. Like they're the gift card people. I had one podcaster I listened to actually took them through the whole thing. And he's like, well, I don't have cash. I have exotic animals. Like I run an exotic animal shelter. Can I pay you in animals? And like this guy's, well, no, but maybe we could sell the animals. Like this guy literally tried to tell him how to do this. And then I had another friend who let them walk him through the entire process, where he said he was walking into a Walmart and he was getting the gift cards. And then he turned the whole story around on him. He's like, oh shit, I accidentally hit somebody while I was walking out, or it was driving away from the building, and now I've got a hostage. What do I do with this hostage?
That's great.
And like he managed to get the return call number, and so he starts calling the guy back to like
Okay, that's awesome.
Negotiate a hostage situation.
Oh my god!
He's like, "What do I do, man? What do I do? I'm freaking the fuck out! Like, you gotta tell me what I gotta do with this person. Like, I went to get the cards, but I got this person. Like,
Right. The second best one that was my buddy had one of those spam calls. Like, oh, go to this website. My buddy knew back in the day it was a spam call, so the guy puts him on and he's like, okay, he goes, and my buddy, he just types something random into his keyboard so the guy can hear him typing. He goes, oh, why is there all this pop-up porn coming up on my screen. What's going on, the guys? I don't thick Indian accent. I don't know, sir. Did you type it? Yes, that's the website. And he's like, I can't get the porn to stop coming up on my screen. What website did you? Yeah, no, sir. You have to go to this way. And after a while, the guy's like, my computer shut. It's smoking. What did you do to my computer? And the guy goes, click.
Yeah.
Well, and just for the record, it does suck to spend and waste that time, but the longer you do it, the less people they can call in a day.
is
Very
true.
true. And
Fair
I've
point.
actually heard that excuse from people that are like, hey, the longer they're on the phone with me, the less people they're screwing with. And I take enjoyment in that. And I honestly, and like, after a guy told me that, I was like, we need people like that. I'm like, because that's actually providing a service to the world, you know?
There used to be an actual phone service or a guy
The New Warrior.
who was, I can't remember, Pirate something, but he literally was an audio program you could set up that when they would call you, it had all the numbers registered, and then it would be like an AI voice box. It would talk to them
Yeah.
That's what we need to use AI for.
and keep them on the phone longer.
That's what we need to use AI for. And then we're just going to have two AIs talking back and forth to each other and just feeding
beauty
into
of
the
it was-
void.
And that's the real way that World War III
Infinite
started.
feedback loop.
Well, and they still use people to do that, believe it or not.
Mhm.
And this particular program would actually record the conversation this guy is having with the AI.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Endless fun. There's people.
That's
there's
amazing.
Wonders beyond belief.
That does sound fun.
Oh God, I love it. The rabbit hole says it's telepathic bunny. I know, sir. Your
Bunny.
logo is the same. It says I have the hiccups apparently. It's telepathic bunny comics. Thanks for the signal boost, Royce and company. Yes, that was an awesome project that you have out there, Telepathic Bunny, and I'm talking with the guys currently about some things, about you and some things and this show and some other things and also this show, and we'll see what we can do because I really liked it. And yeah, foreshadowing. But yes, no, Telepathic Bunny. You had a fantastic project, and you really harkened back to a day and age that comics they cut their teeth in. Comics cut their teeth in social pressure and the wars that were going on back in the day. And I really feel like we are in a modern day war. And I feel like your comic exemplified that. And I love it.
If you're
And-
not aware what that means, it's
Technically,
community
we're in
service.
9 different wars, but that's not.
Shh, sir. Keep it simple. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Telepathic Bunny Comics community service. Go check it out.
And I
Yeah,
haven't
community
for-
service. It's freaking great.
I haven't forgot to set up that recording session with you. You're just getting down my list, bud.
See, notice how he said get down on my anyway.
Look, I could have made it that show. I chose not to. I chose to respect these.
Oh God! And over on Rumble, Edward 90, also known as Kikomon, for $100, says, "Show me, show you, Kikomon. This is for Slick P and King Richard. Woo!" So, no love for me. No love for a drink with crazy.
I think
And
you're trying to make Slick P a thing.
Out of all of the jokes, I wouldn't call you Slick P. I would call you the brain extractor because you extract what's in the brain and you put it on the page.
I feel
would-
like we could
that's like-
workshop that a bit. That needs a little workshopping.
Well, no, because the brain extractor sits upon the seat of power, and that's what gives him the ability to extract from the brain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time you guys were talking about the aesthetics and your backgrounds and whatnot. I'm like, my aesthetic background is the seat of power.
Yeah, I probably need to up my game in that department, but you know.
It's just make it you. That's it. Just make it you. The only thing I will say to people when it comes to aesthetics, the only thing I say to people when it comes to aesthetics, and it's something that I learned from YouTubers years and years ago. Cameras just above or just below eye level, because that's I don't know what viewing aspect that is, and then good audio quality. Good audio quality trumps all.
Working on it.
I know. You've been working on it, but
I can't control Amazon, okay?
yeah, nobody can. Sadly, Daniel P. Riley, what are you working on, good sir?
I am currently working on a vampire novel, which will be ready to roll out pre-Halloween.
Is
Time for the spooky.
Is there a big titty goth vampire in this book?
Why, yes, sir, there is.
Oh, good lord! Oh, hi! I'm gonna buy this book now.
He knows his audience.
Oh, yes. I have an
Twist?
affinity.
Yes,
I
but
have an
twist,
affinity.
she's the villain.
That's even better, good sir.
Mhm.
Twist, my wife is also the villain. My wife is also a big titty goth girl. Good sir.
Otherwise, I am cruising along on the G Sedai. I like the term Amerimanga. I was talking with a couple of other editors. I like the term Amerimanga, so we're going to call it that. The G Sedai Amerimanga adaptation.
Did you just create a genre?
I hope so.
That would be epic.
Yeah.
If you create the Amerimanga, I am down.
It's still gonna be a couple of months before we're ready to roll out, but I will have a crowdfund on Fund My Comic well before the last set of pages come in, so that I can
Nice.
kind of get the ball rolling on that. And so I'll be peddling that everywhere. Otherwise, and after I finish the final work on the vampire book, I'll be rolling right into Legacy of Heroes 2 Rising Stars.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Richard?
Well,
King
I actually
Richard.
do.
What are you doing?
Well, the two things. I'm shipping out tons of issues of Anvil. Number
Did
one.
you beat mine up yet with a bat?
No, I'm not going to do that. But I
He's been
promise
on the
you
show.
that
No, you said you were going to do it. You said you were going to beat mine up with a bat
You
like an
said
office, but
asked
you
me to do
lying
it, and then
son
I
of a
told you I
bitch.
wasn't going to. I'm going to do something different, and with the help of some of your fantastic gilded members.
Okay, no, that's not on the fucking table. You leave it. No, because no.
Already done.
Yes.
No, leave the gilded. Damn it! Why did
One
you
of
bring them into that?
Yeah,
You don't
one- I
understand
think
them,
that
Richard.
I'm so excited.
Like I need to say a lot of prayers after that.
They
think
do
it's the
things.
exact
Oh
quote.
God, Richard, no, they do
But I do
things.
have
Don't.
something exciting
No,
for people.
don't give them power. Stop it.
I'm excited, guys. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll drop it in our chat here.
Oh, I'm
not our
afraid.
chat, but the other one for Anvil.
Oh,
so that it'll
no.
be a surprise for Royce.
Don't.
The other thing, though, is issue number 2 of Anvil is going live on Fund My Comic on Monday, which I have not really been shouting that out as much. as I wanted to.
Wait. Say that again.
Issue number
With
2
gusto.
of Anvil is going live on Fund My Comic on Monday, July 24th.
Issue.
So,
Okay.
issue number 2.
Okay.
The campaign is actually visible. I just dropped the link. You can't actually get an email blast, sign up for an email blast, but it is there. You can go take a look. You can notice that everything is left aligned, even though I tried to do things on center align and it won't save. But aside from that, it's great. It's looking good. I'm very excited about this issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anvil number 2 goes live on Monday the 24th. Oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I kind of have buried the lead on that because I've been so
You can't-
wanting to get the first issue done.
I mean, I get it,
So,
but dude, that's fucking
I'm
on. Wait,
Yeah, I'm gonna
if it's
keep,
going live,
yeah.
that means you already have things lined up.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, most of it's done. 2 of the comics.
Yeah, most
are
of the
done.
work's already done, bro.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 comics are
Dude,
done.
my wife
just
is gonna
need to know-
hate me because I'm gonna be like, "Hey, babe, we have to spend some more money."
Well,
I've-
there is a digital only tier this time because there were. So
I
many
don't do
people-
digital only. I have to hold it in my
Oh,
hands.
yeah,
And-
that's true.
yeah,
but,
I don't. I
There
don't
was enough
because
of an international need. We're not doing ads because I want to be able to use media mail without any potential complications. But there may be something if you have a book coming out or a new issue of something coming out.
We're
and
workshopping.
you're here.
something.
Yeah, get in touch with me and we might be able to work something out. At least as far as like a notice. But anyway, so that's the big thing there. And then also there is the June prompt voting on Iron Age Media, which I totally forgot to shout out today because I was busy doing packing things. But all of the June Iron Age media prompts, whether it be fiction prompts or actually we only had the short story and literature.
Sorry. Fuck you, Hitch.
No. Anyway, but those prompts are up. So if you want to support the Iron Age for free, go there, check out those short stories, vote on your favorites, and that helps me decide what gets featured on the site. Let's see
That's
here.
awesome.
King Richard, 10 copies of issue number 1. Are you win? Do you want your 10 issues? Do you want your 10 copies? I was going to do the giveaway, but I was going to let the original people get theirs. So anyway, Kikomon, connect with me afterwards. Sorry.
See,
Anyway,
Pick 'em
so
up for $2.
that's the
Rice is
announcement.
blue. Go boy. Woo. Oh, so Nikki P, you don't have to do the whole thing, but give us your out over the music because we're there. Nikki P, where can we find you? How do we do?
If you're interested in marketing, learning more about marketing, or having marketing done for you in your creative project, go to ironagemarketing.com and set up a consultation. You can email me, nickp at ironagemarketing.com. And if you just want to learn more about me and all the weird crap that I'm involved in, maybe look at my plants and stuff, go to nickco.com.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here, dude. I appreciate it.
It was awesome hearing everything, all those nuggets of wisdom.
I've got so
Dude,
much work
no.
to do.
Yeah, no, and a lot of things to think about like refocusing. From what I heard tonight, definitely going to help me out a lot. Like, what does your audience want? What type of audience are you going for?
But
Am I
Bryce,
going-
You don't like listening to your audience.
Okay, because they're all a bunch of psychopathic little freaks. Like, you don't understand. I didn't ask for this. Have you been to my Gilded? They're just,
Why, yes, I live there like everyone else.
they're insane. Oh my God, you're one of them.
I am.
Don't give the chat power. Never give the chat power. They're just, they do things and then they just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm like, no, it's not. You don't do that in public. They're like, we didn't do it in public. We did it in your guild. And I'm like, oh God. Oh God. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here on Iron Age Nights number 40 with Iron Age Marketing. And we will see you all next time. Cheers, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.